We're change makers and problem solvers, uniting over 1 million minds to address complex issues facing communities around the world, including yours. With passion and purpose, we've led the efforts to put an end to polio. Now eradication isn't just possible, it's plausible. Every day we're investing in a new generation of leaders so we can continue to provide access to clean water, tackle global health concerns, support education, and build the foundations of peace across borders. We're working together as partners and professionals while making friendships that last a lifetime. We're Rotary, and there's no limit to what we can do.
Convener, Rotary dignitaries, past district governors, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, and honored guests. Good evening and a very warm welcome to Day 2 of District 3310's 30th Virtual District Conference. I'm Rotarian Rena from the Rotary Club of Pandan Valley, and I will be your MC for this evening. We hope you enjoyed the first day yesterday and are pumped for this evening's plenary sessions. With that said, it is now my privilege to hand the stage over to our District Governor, Rajamohan Munisamy, to call this district conference to order.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all of you from wherever you are connected virtually. I hope you are having a wonderful weekend. I'm much gratified for your overwhelming support. As the District Governor of Rotary International District 3310, it is my great honor to call the second day of the 30th District Conference to order. Over to you, Reena.
Thank you, DG Mohan. In addition to the clubs and guests that were recognized during our roll call yesterday evening, we would like to give mention to the following additional guests. Starting off all the way from Australia, District 9790, Rotary Club of Yei, Victoria. From Bangladesh, District 3281, we have Rotary Club of Dhaka Central in Dhaka and Rotary Club of Khulna in Dhaka. Over to Hong Kong, District 3450, Rotary Club of the Peak. And all the way from India, District 3141, Rotary Club of Borivali, Maharashtra. This is where our RI Director, Dr. Bharat Pandya, will be addressing us. That was his home club. Over to Malaysia, District 3300. We have Rotary Club of Kampung Baru City Centre, Rotary Club of Penang, and Rotary Satellite Club of Kudu. From Singapore, a couple of Rotaract clubs from our district, Rotaract Club of Raffles City, and Rotary Club of University Malaysia Sabah. Next, all the way from Switzerland, District 5450, Rotary E Club 1. And from the United States of America, District 6900, Rotary Club of Dunwoody. This is the home club of PRID Robert Hall, who will also be addressing us later this evening. Special mention also to Miss Hazel Xiao, the Rotary Foundation's Philanthropy Advisor, East Asia, Zones 9, 10B, and 10C will be joining us today. And to all other esteemed guests joining us tonight, thank you all for your attendance from the various districts and countries around the world. Safe to say this is definitely one of the biggest benefits of having a virtual event, and we are all very pleased to have an international presence at this district conference. Now, to kick off our third plenary session for this district conference, being on vocational service, we have a non-Rotarian giving us a fresh take on the governor's lecture on values. For the benefit of those who do not know, this segment was introduced as a main feature in all District 3310's district conferences to promote vocational service. We will also be having a question and answer session for this segment, and this will be moderated by our district's incoming Joint Rotaract Committee co-chair, Rotarian Anil Changaroth. At this time, please use the raise hand function on your Zoom chat and only unmute yourself when directed by Rotarian Anil. This evening, we have with us Mr. Terence Quet, CEO of Emergenetics APAC, the APAC HQ of Emergenetics International, a global people and organization development consultancy that owns the Emergenetics Profile, a psychometric tool measuring thinking and behavioral preferences. A connector, collaborator, and community builder, Terence is an active volunteer with numerous organizations in Singapore and internationally, championing education, poverty alleviation, and community building. As a founding member of Project Happy Feet, Terence will share with us Project Happy Feet's innovative approaches to fundraising, stakeholder engagement, and resource management, and how they continue to make footprints of change differently. Over to you, Terence.
Thank you very much, Rena, for that introduction, and thank you everyone for having me this evening. I'm really honored to be invited to speak to many of you, distinguished professionals. We are brought here together tonight together because of one common passion, and that is to serve, to be of service to humanity, whether locally or globally, to make a difference. Now, my sharing tonight is about making footprints of change differently. I know that I'm actually preaching to the choir because considering this is a Rotary Club DISCON, where many of you would have many years, if not decades, of experience serving the community. So I'm really grateful for your indulgence as I share the story of Project Happy Feet, and I hope that my sharing will spark some ideas for you as you continue your journey of making a difference. Now, you can say that the story of Project Happy Feet started with this blackboard, or what looks like a real blackboard. So two friends visiting Siem Reap for the first time on a holiday decided to pay a visit to a school as part of a community service project. So the guide asked them to bring along school supplies and some pairs of slippers. Now, when they walked into the school, their hearts were broken, right? Because both of them were teachers. So you can imagine for a teacher to look at the state of affairs in a classroom like this, how heartbreaking it must have been for the both of them. But actually, even more heartbreaking than this side of a blackboard was another experience, and that is the two friends were invited by the teacher of the class to please stand in front of the classroom, and then the teacher invited everyone in the classroom, so all the students, to come forward if they needed a pair of slippers. So at that moment, almost 40 to 50 kids all came out to the front, lining up, and it became a Cinderella moment for them. So each child would put their feet into the slipper and try. If the slipper fit your foot, congratulations, you're free to go with that pair of slippers. But if your feet didn't fit that pair of slippers, I'm sorry, but better luck next time. So you can imagine that experience, how heartbreaking it was for these two friends. And instead of going there for rest and relax, they came back to Singapore feeling a lot more stressed out over their experience, and they started sharing this experience with all of us. And one of the key things that they said was every child should have a school to go to, and that they have to have happy feet to get them there. So there was a resolve for all of us who were there listening to that story to really decide to do something. And one of the friends, of the two friends, one of them is Deborah, who is my business partner, and the other friend, Grace, who is a mutual friend of ours. So Deborah and I sat down and said, okay, rather than to take the entire company on a company retreat, why don't we do something different? Why don't we sponsor each person's air ticket as well as accommodation, on the condition that every single one of the staff member had to use their own talents and their skill sets to fundraise an equal or more amount, and then we will take that amount that each person fundraised to put into a pot, and then we'll go to Cambodia with the funds that were raised. So through various things like car boot sale, or even contributing some of their own expertise, we managed to raise $20,000, and we went back to the same school. In fact, we went back to even more than just that one school. We brought school supplies, we brought more slippers, just to make a difference to them. So when we came back to Singapore, we thought, okay, that was done, and that's why we call it Project Happy Feet, because we thought it was a one-off project. But what happened was friends and families still continued to want to make a difference. So they contacted us, say, can we make a donation? Are you guys going back to Cambodia again? Can we donate slippers and so on and so forth? We said, no, this is only a project. It was meant to be a one-off thing. And upon reflection, we decided that we probably stumbled upon something quite meaningful, and that's why we decided that we would set up Project Happy Feet as a separate entity on three big key principles, right? So one of it is that everyone volunteers their expertise. Number two, all costs must be covered by individuals or a company, and that 100% of funds that we raise through any form of fundraising activities must go directly to the cause. So with that, Project Happy Feet was set up, and the vision of Project Happy Feet is really to have a world where children go to school with happy feet and that poverty is alleviated. And what we want to do is really to empower lives through education and training to alleviate poverty. So technically, for Project Happy Feet, for over 10 years, these are the things that we've done. We identify causes that we want to support, and these causes must be education and training related, especially benefiting underprivileged children or youths. We also conduct due diligence, so we look at partners, what kind of programs they have, and we conduct due diligence. We also raise awareness for some of the work that our partners have done, fundraise for these programs, as well as facilitate for volunteering. So I'm happy to report for over 10 years, through the efforts, we have raised and dispersed every single cent of about more than $1.3 million. And these are just some of the programs that we have supported over the years, ranging from supporting programs in Cambodia to Vietnam, building a school in Nepal, supporting in India as well, and of course not forgetting in Singapore. So some of the things that we are most proud of is the fact that we have empowered more than 8,000 lives in the region. And to today, the organization remains fully run by volunteers. So we have no full-time staff, and in fact, we have no money. And we're also happy to say that the volunteer database has been growing, and today we have more than 500 volunteers volunteering for Project Happy Feet in various capacities. Now, for us to run an organization as this, there are definitely challenges. So I just want to highlight a couple of challenges as part of this evening's sharing. One, fundraising. Now, for those of us who have ever done fundraising in Singapore, you will know that it's a highly regulated activity. When we are planning to fundraise for a school to build a school in Nepal, even though we only needed $20,000 to build a school in Nepal, it is actually $100,000 problem for us in Singapore. Why? Because of a regulation that only 20% of public funds that we raise can be taken out of Singapore. The rest of the 80,000 has to remain in Singapore. So think about all the different regulations that we have to jump over, right? The next thing is we wanted to make fundraising accessible. What do we mean? We want to make sure that people of all age groups and of different social standings are able to be part of the fundraising effort. So we are not only targeting people with deep pockets, but we are really targeting the person on the street. So how do we then make fundraising accessible to everyone so that everyone can participate in this? Now, you remember that Project Happy Feet gives away every single cent that we raise, which means as an organization, we have no money. But when you need to do a fundraising event, I'm sure all of you will know, you need a lot of resources, right? Ranging from setting up event spaces or even just printing brochures for publicity. So there are costs involved in doing any kind of fundraising activity. So those are the challenges, right? We have a lack of resources and there's costs that we need to cover. And then finally, stakeholders. So for Project Happy Feet, we have different stakeholders, volunteers being one of them. We also have donors and partners. And one of the key challenge in terms of stakeholders is limited time, right? So everyone has limited time, and which also means they have limited attention span. So you either engage them right or you lose them forever. They also have limited resources, and the worst thing is fatigue. You cannot keep going back to the same donor over and over again because at some point in time, they are going to unfriend you. So these are some of the challenges that we face as Project Happy Feet. Now, my topic tonight is about making footprints of change differently. So I want to talk about how we do fundraising, resource management, and stakeholders differently. Let's start by talking about fundraising differently. So one of the key programs that we created way back in 2009 is something called Chefs for a Cause, where we work with a group of chefs to create an event cooking a meal for 600 underprivileged kids who have never been to a hotel before. So for this event to happen, we had to work closely with the hotel. So the hotel sponsored the venue. The chefs sponsored their skills. We had volunteers who come in to help serve the kids because the kids were the VIPs for that particular event. So the entire event was done at no cost. Well, actually it was done because everybody sponsored either expertise or they contributed to ingredients and sponsored entertainment and so on for the kids. As a spin-off for that event, we then worked with the chefs who were part of that event to put together a cookbook that we could then sell to raise even more money. So Recipes from the Heart became a cookbook contributed by 10 chefs. So each chef contributed their own recipes. We had Miller who came in to underwrite the cost of production. We had volunteers who came in to do the photography, to do the design, to do the editing, and the entire thing was done at no cost to Project Happy Feet. And again, this is how we overcome the fundraising challenge. And moving forward, when we started looking at Chefs for a Cause as an event, we decided that can we find a way to involve the public? So Chefs for a Cause then evolved and it became a public engagement event where we sold tickets for people to come and enjoy the creations of the chefs. So you buy a ticket and you're free to taste all the different food at the different stations put out by the chefs. So at one point in time, we had more than 10 chefs, I think 13 chefs who came to a ballroom, and each of them set up their own booths, and a public could buy a ticket, enjoy an afternoon, and 100% of the ticket sale went directly to the funds that we were raising. The other signature event that we had as Project Happy Feet is called the Slipper Race. Now the event is actually inspired because we saw a lot of kids in places like Cambodia where they had to walk 5 kilometers one way just to go to school. And when they walk to school, they walk to school barefooted. So the idea came with this, right? We wanted people to basically walk a mile in the shoes, or in this case, no shoes, of the kids. So the concept of the event was simple. People will pay a registration fee, and then they will wear their own slippers, come together, and we will walk 5 kilometers as part of the entire event. And again, 100% of the registration fee went directly towards the funds that we were raising. So that was the first event in 2011. But again, when we raised that money, only 20% of the money can be taken out of Singapore to support the programs in Vietnam or Cambodia that we were already supporting. So we decided to fundraise differently. So what did we do? We packaged the entire event, and then we found an NGO partner to organize the same event in different places. So we did one in Philippines. We also did one in Vietnam. In this case, 100% of the money that was raised in Philippines stayed in Philippines, supporting the underprivileged children in Philippines, and the money that was raised in Vietnam stayed in Vietnam. So rather than for us to think about how do we take money out of Singapore, we took the entire event, transported it, and brought it overseas to help the NGOs overseas do the fundraising. Now, back in Singapore, we continued to organize an event, but we also began to realize that people were getting tired of the same event. So we had to think differently and innovate the event itself. So came 2014, where we partnered with Total Defense, a national campaign, where we created a special edition called the Total Defense Edition. So it's the same event, but this time round, we had a total defense angle to that. A couple of years later, when we did a slipper race, we decided to outsource the entire event because the volunteers who were running the event were becoming tired. So what we did was we found a like-minded partner, which is also a not-for-profit organization, a social enterprise, and they were selling slippers. Every pair of slippers that you buy, they will make a donation of a pair of slippers to an underprivileged child overseas. So we partnered with them, and we got them to work together with a group of youths to organize the next edition of Slipper Race. And we also worked with an organization called Safra, where they had a huge clubhouse. So again, leveraging on them as a way to create a new version of the Slipper Race. And then the next year, in 2018, that's where we then partner with students this time round to organize the event. So in this case, it was with Singapore Management University. So the two examples that I've shown you were just two ways of showing how we have fundraised differently over the years. So every year we had to do something slightly differently. Now, the other challenge that I highlighted earlier was the resource problem, right? So thinking back to Project Happy Feet, we have no money. How do we go about organizing all these activities and events and raising more than $1.3 million, right? So we have to think differently about resource. So one of the huge resources is actually volunteers. Yeah. So when we think about our volunteers, we need to think about them as people with lots of experience and expertise. So when you look at the Project Happy Feet's website, including the photography, the copywriting, everything is sponsored pro bono by the volunteers. So we think of volunteers as our number one resource. So Project Happy Feet can have zero money, but we have volunteers, and they bring with them tons and tons of expertise, from graphic design to website to event management to merchandising to sponsorship to marketing. You know, it's endless. The next group of people that we like to think of is the corporate partners, right? So in all our key events, we have different corporate partners. So this is a snapshot of just a group of corporate partners for one of the slipper race that we did. So we brought in people like HP, where they help to do the printing of brochures. We brought in Thinking Designs to help design the event collaterals. We brought in sponsors like Ben & Jerry's to provide ice cream to all the participants at the event. So can you imagine, you come to a slipper race and you get free Ben & Jerry's ice cream? We brought in BHS Kinetic because they came in with a warehousing solution. So all the stores of stuff that we needed to put, that's where we worked with them, and they provided free storage for all our goods. We brought in Gardenia because they put in things in the goodie bags, and so on and so forth. So every single logo that you see on this screen is only for one event. So every event gives us an opportunity to engage different partners, and with partners, they bring in different resources. Partners also bring in participation, right? So corporate organizations also volunteer, and in this case, you are seeing that we are giving awards for the biggest number of corporate partners who join us as volunteers or participants. Not forgetting also community partners. So when we look at big organizations with huge membership, these are the people that we want to target. So they help us with publicity, they help us with the outreach. What about influencers, right? So again, one of the key things about your resource is you want to get people to know what you're doing, because if they don't know what you're doing, they cannot support your cause. So one of the powerful things that we have as a resource will be the influencers. So each of the influencers have their own fan base. So we work very closely with different influencers to help us get the word out there. We also work with media a lot. Just to get the word out there, whether it's by way of an interview on the radio or some form of a news coverage or a feature story of human interest. And last but not least, the power of branding. So we've created a series of icons, mascots, as a way to get people excited about Project Happy Feet. So if you look at the pictures on the screen right now, you will see that little figurine. So everyone who has taken part in the slipper race gets one of the figurines, and they come in different colors. And if it's a particular edition, we change the flag. So you can see that there's a flag for Vietnam because there was one edition that was held in Vietnam. And of course, we had the Total Defense edition, and that's why Happy, that's the name of the mascot, is holding the Total Defense flag. I want to now quickly move on to engaging differently. So I've already talked about volunteers. So we have a couple of policies when we talk about engaging volunteers. One of which is we do not contact you until there's something meaningful to be done. The next thing that we do is we train every single volunteer, from even if they're just volunteering for a few hours, packing goodie bags, they go through the same training. Why? Because we think it's important for them to know what Project Happy Feet is about, so that when they're packing goodie bags, they know why they're packing the goodie bags. In terms of donors and partners, we find different ways to shout out about them because they've supported us. So we want to give exposure to their brand. We want to help them with different kinds of marketing by sending out thank you posts to everyone, all the participants, so they know who are our partners, or even writing articles about them. And then nothing beats getting our volunteers and partners involved with the beneficiaries. So as and when we can, we bring them to visit our beneficiaries as much as we can. And of course, quite recently as well, over the last few years, we have also empowered other organizations by bringing them as part of Project Happy Feet. So this is an example of one group of people who were really not a formal organization, and they were passionate about making a difference in Nepal. So we brought them in as part of our program, and with that, we actually built a school in Nepal. So what are some lessons that we have learned over the years? One key thing is that every challenge we see as an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to do some things differently. The other lesson is that we got to keep innovating just to keep going. So Project Happy Feet has been around for more than 10 years with no funds, no money, no bank account, essentially no money in the bank. But the way is to keep innovating. Even if it's the same program, every year is something different about it. And then finally, the 3 C's, collaboration, communication, and the power of the community. So looking ahead, there are 2 things that we are doing right now. One is we've recently launched the School Life Fund, simply because the pandemic has happened and we wanted to make sure that kids, their school life is not too badly affected. So we've launched a School Life Fund in support of underprivileged kids to augment their bursaries, to augment their scholarships, but really paying for things so that they can enjoy a school life like everybody else. And obviously because of the pandemic, we are also looking at using technology as a way to do fundraising. So we are now looking at planning a virtual version of the slipper race so that we can literally go anywhere and we don't have to be stuck into a physical realm. So that's all I've shared for this 25 minutes or so. Just very quick story about Project Happy Feet, the challenges that we've met, and some key lessons that we have learned along the way. If you're interested to find out more or you want to get in touch with me, this is my LinkedIn profile. You can scan the QR code or you can drop me an email. I'll do my very best to answer you. So I'm looking at time, just 1 minute over, so I'm going to hand the time over to Anil, who is going to be moderating the Q&A. Anil, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. We have about 10 minutes. If there are questions, please raise your hand so that your video would go up to the front and we can then have you share. Now, Terence, if I could just start, we have a day job.
Yes, absolutely. So like, I'm the CEO for Emergenetics APAC, and my work is actually more regional, but like everybody else, now my work is, constrained to my study room because we cannot travel. But yes, I do have a day job.
Thank you. Now, I'm just going to ask you one more question before we turn to one of the participants' question. Now, in your second or third slide, you spoke about your vision and your mission. Was that something you set up right early, or was it took you a while before you realized you needed to put a vision and mission statement?
Yeah, at the very beginning, when we decided to set it up as a separate independent entity, we came together and did a workshop, and we decided what is the vision as well as what's the mission, and we stuck to it through the years.
Now, the part about you saying stuck through it. So every time you get into a project, you always keep thinking about what the mission and visions are.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So to give an example, there are times where people write to us and say, because there's a typhoon or there's a hurricane, we need some urgent funds, emergency relief, and so on and so forth. And we have to turn them down or refer them to somebody else because our mission is in humanitarian aid. Well, sorry, our mission is in developmental aid, not humanitarian aid. So we need to be very clear what we are set up to do and what we are not set up to do, simply because we don't have money in the bank. So I can't even give you money even if I want to. So it's really important for us to stick very closely to our mission because there's just too much that that needs to be done. But as a small entity, we have to be very focused.
Thank you. Okay, across the first hand raised, Mukund, can you share with us what your question is? They'll just unmute you in a minute. Clarence, could you just unmute Mukund, please?
Thank you.
Yes.
Right. Terence, thank you for that wonderful presentation. It's lovely to hear from you. I just wanted to understand what are the best practices adapted in this journey while taking the happy feet from ground zero to up to this level.
Oh, wow, that's a huge question. I think I'll need another hour for for that sharing. But if I go back to the key lessons that I've shared earlier, right? It's about thinking about problems very differently. I think that will be a best practice because when we were doing fundraising, there were so many challenges because number one, there were so many regulatory things that we have to be, to be mindful of. And every time we put something out there, some new challenges will come up. Just to give another example, in 2015, we actually planned to have a slipper race in Sentosa, and Sentosa was coming on board, everything fully sponsored, and then the haze came. So we had to then put out a word to say, I'm sorry guys, we have to cancel this. Why? Because the majority of our volunteers were really coming from schools, and of course the kids, the parents will be worried about sending their kids as volunteers. And last year in 2020, we were launching a project with Singapore Cricket Club, who was sponsoring for a team of underprivileged kids from Nepal to fly to Singapore to play in a friendly football match. And then the pandemic happened. So what I'm saying is, when we started this work, we knew that there will be all kinds of challenges, but it's about really thinking about different ways to overcome it. And there will be some point in time we just have to say no. But the key point being, can we do things differently? Can we innovate? Can we look at problems and see how they open up different opportunities for us?
Thank you.
Thank you, Terence.
Next question is from PDG Andre. We're just going to unmute you, sir. Yes.
Hi. Thank you.
Sorry, you. Hang on a minute. We've just got. We need to unmute you again. Sorry.
Hi.
Oops. Let's see if we can get that sorted out. If not, can we just move on to the next? Goosen, you have your hand raised as well. Okay, we'll come back to you, PDG Andre. Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, this is maybe a silly question, but you said 20% can only be used abroad. What happens to the other 80%?
Yeah, so the other 80% has to be channeled to a charity in Singapore. So in this case, we would then identify similar programs in Singapore and channel 100% of the 80% to those organizations. For example, Community Chest, Straits Times School Pocket Money Fund. These are just some examples of the organizations that we then give 100% of the money that we raise to in Singapore.
So that was one of the reasons why you mentioned that you then started engaging with NGOs overseas so that you can then do the fundraising overseas as well.
That's correct.
On that, wouldn't that raising, I mean, depending on the exchange rate, right? You may be able to still raise a lot more in Singapore than you could in those countries. So you do have that challenge as well.
So here's where we skirt the situation a little bit, right? So we export the entire event, partner with a local NGO like in Vietnam or in the Philippines. In the Philippines, we actually partner with a resort, right? Crimson Resort and Spa in Cebu, Mactan, beautiful place. So we partner with them. So the hotel put in all its resources to organize the Slipper Race Resort Edition. And they collect the money from their patrons as well as partners within the whole of Cebu. And the 100% of the money stayed in Cebu because the money went to support the kids and the schools in Cebu. So this is an example of how we thought about the problem differently and innovate just to solve that problem.
Back to PDG Andre. Could we just try him again?
Hi. Thanks, Terence, for sharing that inspiring story. Very humbling indeed. What I would like to know is, how do you manage to attract these volunteers? And I mean, the fact that they all have the same vision and they are all into it and they are willing to contribute their expertise. How did you do that?
First and foremost, I think we look at we need to be very clear what do you need your volunteers to do. So rather than to say I need volunteers, I say I need 10 people to pack goodie bags for 1 hour on that particular Sunday. So that's one example. Or I need somebody to look at our accounts for the entire year. Or I need somebody to help with website for this particular project. It's probably going to be 3 months. So think of it as a job recruitment more so than I'm just calling for volunteers, because what good is somebody who say I'm a volunteer with Project Happy Feet, but actually there's nothing for them to do very meaningfully. So being very clear with what I need you to do and being transparent. I'm going to tell you that you have to buy your own t-shirts, you have to pay for your own etiquette, you have to pay for your own bus ride. When we go to Cambodia and when we travel 40 kilometers to visit a school, you have to pay for that bus there as well. Okay, so these are the costs that's going to be involved for you volunteering. So please don't join us if you are not prepared to make this kind of commitment. But there are other volunteering opportunities. So I guess it's more being transparent and be very clear what you want your volunteers to do. I hope I've answered your question.
But how did you transmit this information to them? Is it through social media?
We look at all channels, right? So remember the 3 C's, so collaboration. So sometimes we collaborate with organizations and we say we're looking for skilled volunteers. So can your organization support us by inviting, that department of people to consider? So that's collaboration, right? Communication. So look at social media, look at friends, word of mouth. In fact, word of mouth is really, really powerful. So yes, social media is one thing, but don't underestimate the power of word of mouth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Along with that, I think you made a point about training the volunteers, and you said it's not just about packing, but it's about why you're packing it, right? I thought that was very interesting. The next question we have is from PP Cynthia.
Hi, Terence. That was really exciting. It's very interesting to see how innovative it is. But I'm just curious. I think we all face the same challenge, even in Rotary. Raising fund is always the most challenging part of any project. Now you have a vision, you have your vision, your dream. Which aspect of that is sufficient enough for you to approach, all these big organizations to come fund you? Why was it so simple? Which part of your value proposition was very compelling for you to raise all these monies with all these organizations?
Yeah. So thank you for that question. So I'm just going to speak in terms of corporate engagement. So we need to first understand what the corporate organization need more so than what I need from them. Because I'm very clear, I need you to help me print brochures, or I need you to give me $20,000 for sponsorship. But I need to put myself in your shoes, because you are the corporate organization. I need to understand what your CSR philosophy is. I need to understand what have you been doing over the last few years, and find a way for you to see how you can convince your bosses to say, yes, let's support Project Happy Feet by sponsoring them with $10,000 cash. So really understanding what they need, and that's the reason why we look at a few things. So one is, can we provide brand and marketing exposure for them? So like for Ben and Jerry's, maybe Ben and Jerry's is not a good example because they are already a very social mission kind of an organization, but there will be other organizations out there who are looking for branding opportunities, right? So we're telling them for Slipper Race, we're reaching out to about 2,000 public, roughly age between this to this. Your brand is going to sit well with them, so why don't you sponsor us? And so once we understand what they need, either from marketing, PR point of view, it makes it a lot easier for them to sit up. And of course, then you need to tell them a very compelling story, what we're trying to do, and make the impact very clear for them. So the transparency part is also very important. When they sponsor this, they need to know where the money is going towards. So these are just some examples of how we engage the corporates. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. We've got just about 2 minutes left, but let's take the last question. It's all the way across from Bangladesh, PDG Sam Shaukat.
Hello.
Yes, we can.
Greetings to you. My question is, how long is the volunteerism? How any overseas delegate can be a volunteer for a short term? And if need to train the volunteer, I personally volunteer to train them.
Thank you very much. So just to answer your question, I'm a
professional trainer. I'm a master trainer, so I can be a volunteer, come and train them.
Thank you very much. So just to answer your question about volunteers, we have volunteers who volunteer through their organization, and they maybe just do a couple of hours, right? And we all the way to core team volunteers who are part of the decision-making body of Project Happy Feet as well. So when we talk about training, then it's really ensuring to tell them the story of Project Happy Feet and how we run the organization, and what are some of the things that we do, our philosophies and so on. So it's really the key principles as well as the values of Project Happy Feet that we inculcate, just so that they understand the bigger picture. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that session. It just leaves me to invite PP Eric Lee to give you a vote of thanks.
Somebody unmute. Eric, I think you are on mute.
Hold on here. There, Clarence, please. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, first of all I can say, Terence, is wow, you did a really bang up job in that short presentation. You know, there's so many things that we can talk about in a vote of thanks, but I'll keep it very short and sweet. But it seemed to me some of the things that really strike out is, firstly, there's got to be the heart. What do we really want to do? And in your Project Happy Feet, it started off with a little blackboard, a broken down blackboard, and slippers that could not fit and not enough slippers, right? So really, for any project that we want to do it's got to start from the heart and the need for something, right? And of course, you went on to talk about the need to do things differently, and you captured it so clearly in terms of fundraising, in terms of volunteering and communication, and a whole lot of things which are too many to go into detail. But I'd like to perhaps just talk about some of the things that we as Rotarians can learn a lot from, and maybe share with you too. One of the things that we know and that we're doing really is sharing our vocations. Our vocations means vocation service is an inherent part of Rotary, and we are all of us have this challenge to ensure that all Rotarians use their vocations to serve. And you've made it so clear that it has to come with the heart and with people with experience and skills. Secondly, we also face the same problems of donor and volunteer fatigue. We just cannot go and talk to the same people time and time again. So therefore, your idea of reaching out to volunteers and organizations overseas to minimize the tax issues and what have you, and also involvement internationally is also so important. So really, I think, I could go on and on, but really these are some of the things that are so important that you've crystallized so clearly. And all I can say is that you've given us a lot of thoughts to think through very carefully. Things again like the details like branding, like merchandising, like making sure that all your volunteers are well trained, they understand what they're doing. These are little details, but as we all know, the devil is in the detail. And you've really struck again a very important note by reminding us that no point having a good story to sell, but the implementation is lacking. So on behalf of all Rotarians in this district conference, Terence, we just want to say a big thank you for an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, PP Eric Lee, for your vote of thanks. Just before we move on to plenary session 4, special mention should be given to the following guests who have joined us here tonight not too long ago. First off, we have Rotary International Director, Dr. Bharat Pandya, past Rotary International Director, Robert Hall, both of whom will be addressing us in the following plenary sessions. And also we've heard from him just a little earlier during the Q&A session. We have PDG Sam Shokit Hussain, Rotary Public Image Coordinator from the Rotary Club of Dhaka Central. Thank you for joining us. For our plenary session 4 on the Rotary Foundation, we will start off with a short video we would like to share with you all. Now we have an esteemed guest speaker, Rotary International Director, Dr. Bharat Pandya, who will address us on the Rotary Foundation. I would now like to invite our District Rotary Foundation Chair, past President, Dr. Shaul Hamid, from the Rotary Club of Singapore to introduce our esteemed guest speaker.
Well, a very good evening, fellow Rotarians, honored guests. Welcome once again to the DISCON, virtual DISCON of our District 2310. It is indeed my honor to chair this plenary session and to give my special thanks to Dr. Bharat Pandya for readily agreeing to speak at our session when he was asked. He will be speaking to us on the Rotary Foundation, touching lives and transforming communities. Let me give you a brief introduction of Dr. Bharat Pandya. Dr. Bharat graduated from the prestigious SES GS Medical College, KEM Hospital, Mumbai, and is practicing as a general and laparoscopic surgeon since the last 32 years. He is a fellow of the International College of Surgeons and has been conferred fellowship by Association of Surgeons in India. He was the district governor of District 3140 in the year 2006-2007. During his year as district governor, District 3140 contributed over $2 million to the Rotary Foundation. And for the first time in the history of TRF, an Indian district, that is District 3140, became the #1 in TRF contributions in the entire Rotary world for the year 2006-2007. That is indeed an achievement. He has served Rotary as Regional RI Membership Coordinator, Rotary International Training Leader twice in 2009 and 2010, Governor-elect Training Seminar Chair twice, member of the India National Polio Plus Committee, and as Governor-elect Training Seminar Trainer for 8 times. He has served on the RI Membership Committee, RI Sydney Convention Promotion Committee, and as District 3140 COL representative in 2013. Bharat has been the RI President's representative at district conferences in India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Philippines. He is currently serving as the Rotary International Director for the year 2019-2021, and he's serving as RI Treasurer for the year 2021. Dr. Bharat is married to Dr. Madhavi, a gynecologist by profession. She was the Charter President of the Inner Wheel Club of Borivali, and she was also the District Chairman of the Inner Wheel District 314 for the year 2017 and 2018. Bharat and his wife are committed to the Rotary Foundation and are Level 3 major donors. He has been conferred Citation of Meritorious Service by the Rotary Foundation, as well as the highest award from the Rotary Foundation, the Distinguished Service Award. He's also the recipient of Rotary International Highest Award, Service Above Self. Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome Dr. Bharat Pandya, who's going to speak to us, touching lives and transforming communities. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shaul, for inviting me here today, and thank you for this very kind and generous introduction. District Governor Mohan, DRFC, Dr. Shaul, the Rotary leaders of District 3310 and Rotary family of 3310, my good friend, I see PDG Sam Shaukat, who is there, and all the Rotarians who are present at this virtual conference. It's a great pleasure for me, and I must thank District Governor Mohan and DRFC Dr. Shaul for this opportunity. And I think, friends, you will agree that this is one of the pluses of these pandemic times. I think that were it not for this pandemic, I probably would not have this opportunity to come to your district conference and share some of my thoughts on the Rotary Foundation, touching lives, transforming communities. Friends. No, I don't want that presentation. Shaul, you can take off that presentation, please.
Yes, can you please remove the... Yeah.
Thank you. I always want to see the faces of people whom I'm speaking to, because that allows me to connect more with them actually. So I know that in this screen, it's limited to about 30 people who are there on the screen, but still I think that allows a better connection for me. Charles Dickens has written an iconic book, A Tale of Two Cities. It begins with these lines. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. If these lines capture the very essence of Rotary in these pandemic times, Rotary and Rotarians were in such good times of light, hope, opportunity, connections across the world. And then this pandemic struck and brought the world to its knees, bringing darkness and despair to everyone. And it changed everything for Rotary. It changed the way we met, the way we interacted, even the way we did our service projects. But one thing that remained constant amongst all this change is the Rotary Foundation. The constant was that Rotarians continued to work for and through the Rotary Foundation. Rotarians' commitment to the Rotary Foundation remained unwavering and unchanged. Let me share with you why I am saying this. In the year 2019-20, the Rotary Foundation disbursed 1357 global grants to the value of $95.6 million. In the year 2020-21, up to 30th of April, the foundation has already disbursed 1,670 global grants to the value of $118.7 million. Almost 25% more global grants have been disbursed, and still 2 months to go. When the Rotary Foundation set a goal of $410 million for the year 2020-21, it seemed improbable, if not an impossible goal, friends. But let me share with you that as of 15th of May, we are just about 10 to 15% away from achieving this goal. And I will not be surprised if at the end of the year, we are able to surpass this goal of $410 million contribution from Rotarians across the world. And therefore, Rotarians' commitment to Rotary Foundation has remained unchanged, whether it is participation in the foundation programs or whether it is supporting our Rotary Foundation friends. And therefore, I will not be wrong in saying that if Rotarians are the heart and soul of Rotary, our Rotary Foundation is the very backbone of Rotary, because much of the good work that we do is only possible through the Rotary Foundation friends. From a small beginning in the mind of one man, Arch Klumpf, and with a contribution of $26.50, today the foundation is probably one of the foremost agencies for doing humanitarian good in this world. Individually, you and I cannot do too much for world understanding or for world peace. But through the programs of the Rotary Foundation, we can definitely work for world peace, trying to make our world a better place to live in, friends. I have always believed that 3 B's are necessary for peace. 3 B's: bed, bread, and basic education, friends. And our Rotary Foundation is working for just that type of peace by providing food and water to the hungry and thirsty, shelter to the homeless, education and healthcare to the illiterate and sick and needy people, friends. Rotary Foundation is truly the shining jewel in Rotary's crown. It was Emerson who once said that to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is the meaning of success. The Rotary Foundation is that power of one Rotarian, one club, one district, one project in a club multiplied many times over. You all know that Helen Keller was blind. She was once asked, "Miss Keller, is there anything worse than being blind?" She said, "Yes, having sight but no vision." Friends, it is our Rotary Foundation which gives Rotary that forward-looking vision to make our dream of a peaceful world, a better world come true, friends. Through its various programs of the areas of focus, whether it is water and sanitation, whether it is basic education and literacy, whether it is maternal and child health, whether it is disease prevention and treatment, peace and conflict resolution, and of course, the latest one, environment, friends. I just saw in the chat box somebody asking, how do we attract young people to Rotary? Today, the youth cares maximum about the environment. And that is what the foundation realized, friends, that we need to have environment as one of the areas of focus. And here it is, from 1st July 2020, environment is one of the 7 areas of focus of Rotary Foundation, friends. And it is through these areas of focus that Rotarians are able to touch lives and transform communities, not just in their own area, not there in their own locality or state or country, but across the world, day in and day night, friends. You know, there is an old saying, when the well runs dry, we really learn the worth of water. Clean and safe water, proper sanitation facilities are something that you and I take for granted. We don't even pay a second attention to it, friends. But for hundreds and thousands and millions of people around this world, they have no access to clean, safe water and proper sanitation. And when I was governor of my district 3140, I come from the city of Mumbai, which is a megapolis. But when I was governor, I realized when I visited the surrounding areas, I realized that 60 to 70 kilometers from Mumbai you go, and there are areas and villages which have no access to clean, safe water. And where people, mostly women and young girls, have to walk a couple of kilometers every day for the daily requirement of water. And I realized that we need to do something about this. Can you imagine, friends, that if a girl has to walk a couple of kilometers daily for water, how can she be expected to go to school? And if she is not educated, friends, how can we even think of transforming her life and life of the community, friends? Because I sincerely believe that when you educate a boy, you educate one person. But if you educate a girl, you are able to educate the entire family and many times the entire community, friends. And therefore, we thought that we should do something about this. And we started a project which is known as the Check Dam project. In these villages, there are small streams, small rivulets, which run dry by the month of January and February, friends. Indian economy is a monsoon-driven economy. From July to October, September end is the monsoon. Then comes the winter, and then comes the dry season, friends. January, February, these streams run dry. And therefore, for 4 months almost, these people have no access to water, friends. So we started building these check dams. They are small concrete masonry dams, 20 to 30 meters across length and 2.5 to 3 meters in height. These not only hold back the water, making it available for a longer period of time for drinking purposes, for agricultural purposes. But the second biggest advantage is that because the water is held back, it seeps down into the ground and it charges the ground level of the water, friends. And we realized when it did this survey, we started in 2006 by building 48 check dams. And in the last so many years, we have built more than 350 check dams at a cost of almost $2 million, friends. One check dam costs today about $6,000 to $7,000. Much of this funding has come through the Rotary Foundation, friends. And when we made a survey of this, an evaluation of this check dam project, we found that each family, of course, was able to have 2 crops, sometimes 3 crops, when initially they had only 1 crop, friends. But not only that, each family was able to earn $1,000 more every year at an average, friends. It appears as a very small amount to you and me today, but $1,000 is 75,000 Indian rupees, which is a reasonably good amount for a family in a rural area. When Dada Vaswani, an Indian philosopher, was asked, what is the best gift that you can give to somebody? He replied that better than any material gift is the gift of education and the gift of sight. And that is what Rotary Foundation is doing through its various educational programs. Whether it is providing benches, school benches, something as simple as school benches to areas in rural parts of India and other developing countries, where children so many times have to sit on the ground, bend down and do their studies, resulting in back problems, in eyesight problems, and many other problems. Simply supplying these school benches solves many of these problems and helps better attendance to school, better education, and a better quality of life for these children. Whether it is benches, whether it is equipping school with other equipments, whether it is supplying e-learning kits. I am telling you that especially in parts of India, e-learning is now proving to be a game changer for this education. Because e-learning ensures that a child living in most part of India has equal access to quality education as child living in the city of Mumbai. And much of these programs have been done with the help of the Rotary Foundation. And the gift of sight. Let me tell you about my own club project, my club, home club, Rotary Club of Borivali. When I was the governor, we started a Rotary Eye Bank and Processing Center. It will amaze you to know that there are more than 1 million corneally blind people in India. These people are not able to see because the whiteness in the black part of the eye, the corneal opacities. And these people would benefit tremendously by corneal transplantation. Just transplanting the black part of the eye. There is a waiting list for corneal transplantation, not just in India, but in many other developing countries. And therefore, we started this Rotary Eye Bank and Processing Center. And in the last about 10 dozen years or so, more than 2,000 people have been given the gift of sight because of this Rotary Eye Bank and Processing Center. And this project was funded by the Rotary Foundation. And let me share you, not only this is just a perfect example of gift of sight, but this is the perfect example of the multiplication magic of the Rotary Foundation. Because the contribution of my home club, Rotary Club of Borivali, was $1,000. And the project value of the whole project was $117,000. One multiplied 117 times, friends. Can you imagine any other organization where such type of multiplication happens? Of course, it was possible because the DDF given by the home district, DDF given by the international partner, and matching done by the Rotary Foundation, friends. So truly, Rotary Foundation is into touching lives and transforming communities. And one of the things that touched me the most was the story of this small little boy, Vaibhav, a 4-month-old child. 2 years back, when the child came to us, he came with complete whiteness of one eye because he was born with a congenital corneal opacity. This boy, because of our processing center, eye bank and processing center, was able to receive a corneal transplantation. And today, this 2-year-old boy, I recently only a couple of months back met him. He's able to run and jump and play like any other young boy or girl, friends. Truly touching lives and transforming communities. Rotary Foundation is Rotarians' window to the world. Look through this window and you will see hundreds and thousands and millions of people who cannot read or write, who go to bed hungry at night, who have no access to safe water and proper sanitation, who fall victims to terrorism, war, abuse, and so many other ills. And we have two options. Either we can shut our eyes or shut the window and hope that the problems of the world will go away, or we can do something through the programs of the Rotary Foundation. As I said in the beginning, the programs of the Rotary Foundation benefit millions of people around the world. Sitting in Singapore or sitting in Mumbai, we cannot imagine in which part of the world who will be benefited by our Rotary Foundation programs. But you all will agree with me when I say that the Rotary Foundation depends only on support and voluntary contributions of the Rotarians. So the question comes into mind, why do we contribute to the Rotary Foundation? We contribute to the Rotary Foundation because there are 4 or 5 important reasons that we contribute. The first one, the Rotary Foundation has a track record of outstanding work, excellent projects and service activities, and a clear track record of financial prudence, financial discipline, and sound stewardship practices. We contribute because the money that we'll give are spent by other Rotarians like you and me. They are not spent by somebody else, but they are spent by other Rotarians like you and me, whom we can trust with our monies. And together, we can achieve much more than we can ever achieve alone. We contribute to Rotary Foundation because the work is done through Rotary's network of 36,000 clubs, 1.2 million Rotarians spread in 200 countries of the world. We contribute to the Rotary Foundation because contributing to the Rotary Foundation is truly sustainable giving. Jewish Rabbi Maimonides describes 8 levels of giving, friends. I am not going to go into 8 levels, but level 8 is the lowest and level 1 is the highest. Level 8 is not giving anything or giving unwillingly when somebody forces you and making the recipient feel embarrassed. Level 2 giving is giving where neither the recipient or the donor know each other. And level 1 giving is giving money, a loan, your time, your resources, your talent, whatever else, to help the other person to become self-reliant. If you look closely, my friends, when we give to Rotary Foundation, it is level 2 and level 1 giving. You know that old Chinese proverb? Give a person fish and you feed him for 1 day. Teach him how to fish, him or her how to fish, and you feed them for a lifetime, friends. Rotary Foundation not only gives fish to a person, but also teaches that person to fish so that he or she is enabled to be self-reliant, to stand on his or her own feet and support not just himself, but his entire family, friends. Truly, truly touching lives and transforming communities, friends. And we give because giving to the Rotary Foundation is what I call as the concept of effective giving. when we give to other organizations, and I don't mean to please downgrade any other organization. Many organizations are doing a fantastic and great job, friends. I don't mean to downgrade any of them. But when we give to other organizations, you are not sure how the money will be spent. It may be spent for the purpose for you, which you give, but it may be also spent for paying salaries or buying place or something else. But when you give to the Rotary Foundation, because of the share system, because of the 3-year cycle, more than 92% of the monies that you give to the Rotary Foundation is used only for the purpose for which you are giving, friends. The concept of effective giving. Dr. Shaul mentioned that when I was governor of my district, we were able to collect $2 million to the Rotary Foundation and become #1 in the world. The important thing was not becoming #1. The important thing was showing to the world that there are developing countries who can also give, who just don't keep on asking and receiving, friends. Changing the mindset of the world and changing the mindset of my Rotarians. And that was not my achievement. That was because Rotarians of my district opened their hearts to give to the Rotary Foundation. And it was this one particular Rotarian, Harshad Mehta, past president of one of our Rotary clubs. He was the first Indian to give $1 million to the Rotary Foundation in 2006-2007. And when at the district conference, when I was the governor in 2007, we honored Mr. Harshad Mehta and his wife, Naina. Of course, it was an in-person conference. And he said that we are businessmen, but we believe that the wealth which is there with us is not truly ours. It is just passing through our hands. And if it passes through our hands, through Rotary, through the Rotary Foundation, we know that the money will be used wisely, effectively, efficiently, transparently, and for the purpose for which we are giving this money, friends. And that is why I have given $1 million to the Rotary Foundation. And in the last 12, 13 years later on, Harshad Bhai and Naina Ben have given more than $5 million to the Rotary Foundation, friends. And why does Gates Foundation give to the Rotary Foundation again and again and again? Till date, Gates Foundation has given almost $1 billion to the Rotary Foundation. It has not given to any government of the world. It has not given to WHO. It has not given to UNICEF, friends. Whatever money it has given to the Rotary Foundation. That is because Gates Foundation believes that giving to the Rotary Foundation is truly, truly effective giving, friends. I have always believed, my friends, that there are 3 phases in our life. In any person's life, there are 3 phases: learn, earn, and return. The first 1/3 of our life is spent in learning a vocation, profession, or a skill. The second 1/3 is spent in earning for ourselves and our families. And the last 1/3 should be spent in returning back to the society, friends. I'm telling you that the Rotary Foundation gives that opportunity that even as we are earning, we can return back to the society and leave behind a legacy of goodwill and good work. A legacy whereby a small child in a village in a rural part of a developing country has at last access to safe water because of hand pumps supplied through the Rotary Foundation. The water problems of the village are solved because of the overhead tank which was built because of the Rotary Foundation. And fishermen whose boats were destroyed by tsunami or a typhoon or a cyclone, they can again earn their livelihood because of the fishing boats supplied through the Rotary Foundation, friends. You know, there is a beautiful painting. There is a beautiful painting by artist William Holman Hunt. It is known as the Light of the World. It shows Jesus Christ standing in front of a wooden door. In one hand, he is holding a lantern, and another hand is raised to knock on the door. And the story goes that when he was applying finishing touches to the painting, a friend happened to come by. He watched and observed this painting. And then he said, "Holman, there is a mistake in this painting that you have made." Yeah, that is a painting. That's true, friends. My friends. And Holman asked, "What is it?" And the friend replied that this door you have made, you have forgotten to paint a handle on it. And Holman replied, "My friend, that is not a mistake, because this is the door to the human heart and can only be opened from inside." My friends, I request each and every one of you, please look within your hearts and invest. I never ask people to give or support or contribute to the Rotary Foundation. I ask people to invest in the Rotary Foundation, friends. Invest in the Rotary Foundation this year and every year, friends. And especially it is our responsibility of each and every Rotarian to invest in the annual program of the Rotary Foundation and in the polio fund of the Rotary Foundation. I know past director Robert Hall is going to talk about polio, so I'm not going to dwell on polio. But if you go to Gates' website, he will tell you that Gates' website, when it comes to polio, it says that the world would not be where it is as far as polio is concerned without Rotary. And world will not get where it wants to be without Rotary, friends. That is the esteem which Gates holds Rotary in, friends. So my friends, all of us, let me remind you, all of us in our lifetime have enjoyed and eaten the fruits of trees that we have not planted, which are planted by our fathers and our forefathers. I think it is our responsibility to plant fruits and plant trees, the fruits of which you and I will not enjoy, but we will benefit our children, our grandchildren, and generation to come, friends. And one of the best ways to do that is by investing in the Rotary Foundation. You know, I have always believed that there are three types of givers. Dr. Shahul and DG Mohan, I have believed that there are three types of givers. The one are like the flint. The flint never gives anything unless you hammer it hard, and then it only yields few sparks. The second are like the sponge. The sponge only gives when you squeeze it, but it gives little, but when you squeeze it more, it soon becomes dry. And third are like the honeycomb, which gives freely and keeps giving. I know you, my friends, Rotarians of District 3310, are like the honeycomb. I am sure that you have been giving freely to the Rotary Foundation over the past years, and I'm sure that you will continue giving this year and every year to the Rotary Foundation, friends. Because giving to Rotary Foundation is truly sustainable giving, truly effective giving, and through the Rotary Foundation, we are doing the work of God. I talked initially about the power of one. My friends, each one of you has that power of one, of touching one life, of transforming one community. Use that power of one wisely and well by supporting our Rotary Foundation today, tomorrow, and every year. I wish you to have a great conference, and I know that all of you will heed my request of investing in the Rotary Foundation by supporting our Rotary Foundation, because Rotary Foundation depends for support on each and every Rotarian, each and every one of you. Enjoy Rotary, enjoy yourself. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you, RI Dr. Bharat. It was really great that you chose to address us personally and see all our faces as well. As I'm sure all of us can agree, your passion and belief in the Rotary Foundation really came through during your talk, and this is very inspiring. Now I'd like to once again call DRFC PP Dr. Shahul to give his vote of thanks.
Right, thank you very much, MC Rina. I think we have a few minutes. MC, can I just entertain the audience by taking some of their questions? Is that all right?
Yes, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
First of all, before I call on some of you to post your own questions, I would like to thank Dr. Bharat. Thank you very much for such an inspiring talk. I mean, it's wonderful. We've learned so much today alone. Now, before the official vote of thanks, there is a question from the District Governor nominee, Dr. Krishna. He wants to know, for e-learning in remote areas, how do you ensure that they have the relevant devices like mobile phones and affordable internet access?
So it's not just the mobile phones. You know, today I will talk about India. India has almost 950 million mobile phones today. The population of India is 1.3 billion. India has almost 1 billion mobile phones. So mobile phones has penetrated in each and every remote part of India. But apart from that, the e-learning that we are talking about is there is in a school, a certain curriculum is developed, a software is developed by so many companies. One of the companies which is developing this is Tata. Tata has got a e-learning, Tata Sons, which has got a charitable arm, which is developing these e-learning solutions. And therefore they come out with the curriculum depending on the state government in the local language of the state, which we are putting the e-learning kit. And we put just that e-learning kit is just a LCD projector and a TV screen which is there. depending on the standard in which the child is studying, that curriculum is played by the teacher who is trained in how to do that e-learning thing. So that is how we work in e-learning. It's just not about the mobile phone. It's about putting an e-learning system in each and every school. Each system of e-learning costs about 35 to 40,000 rupees, which is about $500 to $600, which is not a very costly thing. And till date, Rotary in India has put about 30,000 e-learning systems across schools all across India.
Right. Before the pandemic hit, I think our district has been involved with some of the Rotary clubs in West Bengal area to help global grants projects for e-learning. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, a lot of the projects have been put on hold to give priority for the need of the hour. Dr. Bharat, there's another question from immediate past district governor from our neighboring district, 3300. The question is, what is TRF main focus in environment sustainability? And is there a program of Rotary like Preserve Planet Earth that used to exist in the past?
So yes, Preserve Planet Earth was started by Carlos Fonseca of Brazil, past president from Brazil, and that was a great program. And that was probably one of the inspirations behind taking this forward as an environment project. You know, environment project is just environment as a thrust area has just been started, and a couple of areas in environment, solid waste management, alternate sources of energy, solar lighting, all these areas are being looked at by the trustees of the Rotary Foundation. Unfortunately, these pandemic times, it has not been possible to implement this, but I'm sure that the trustees during the next 1 or 2 years will finalize 3 or 4 main important areas in which to, one of the areas which we could look in is reducing plastic, recycling, and such areas. And as I talked about alternate energy sources, I think a couple of things are being looked at by the Rotary Foundation trustees. And I'm sure that in the next year, they will come out with more concrete programs as far as the environment is concerned.
Right. Thank you very much, fellow Rotarians. I'll close the question and answer for the moment. A vote of thanks, Dr. Bharat. I actually had a question in the beginning. How do you manage to raise the $2 million? How many arms do you have to twist? But you've given us the tools right in your own presentation. Where you meant about the flint, the sponge, and the honeycomb, and about learn, earn, and return. I mean, these are really, really wonderful nuggets of information, tools that we hope to use in our own district as well. As you know, the bane for all district governors, incoming district governors, and DRFCs is to make sure that we hit our target. And hopefully, with your presentation today, and for those who are tuning in, especially more than 300 of us, you feel obliged, you feel motivated, and you feel engaged to give to the Rotary Foundation. So thank you very much, Dr. Bharat. I sincerely hope that you can stay for the next 10 minutes. We are honoring the major donors in our district, including an exciting, surprised honoree. And I hope you will stay with us for the next few minutes.
So let me share, before the vote of thanks, Dr. Shaul, let me share some information with you.
Sure.
You know, this year, because of the pandemic, the Rotary Foundation Board of Directors and the Rotary International Board of Directors and the Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees were not able to travel. But as I just mentioned to you during my talk, the demand for global grants has escalated so much, has been tremendous. In fact, it has resulted in something like we have become a victim of our own success. Today, the global grants have really gone through the roof. And in the month of February, the foundation trustees found that they are running out of the money. So because of the travel cost savings, the Rotary International Board of Directors for the first time has given $7.5 million to be used for global grants. The Board of Trustees, because of the savings that they have done, they have also given almost $10 million. So almost $17 to $18 million extra has been given to being used on the global grants. So the Board of Directors of Rotary International, the Board of Trustees of Rotary Foundation are very much aware of what the demand of the Rotarians is. And we are trying our best to meet these needs, friends. But unless, you know, the global grants, you all know where the money from global grant comes from. It comes from the World Fund. And that comes from what? That comes from contribution to the annual fund of the Rotary Foundation every year, friends. And that is why I keep on making this request again and again, that all of us need to keep on supporting our annual fund every year. Thank you, Dr. Shah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share this information with you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think I must say that we are really happy with the way the global grants have been approved at speed. Just last week, we had a project for COVID-19 in our district. It's been approved in a matter of 7 to 8 days. So We are really, really pleased. We are having a very good relationship now with the Rotary grant officers. I cannot say that it has been like that all the time, but of late, in the past 1 to 2 years, I think the relationship has improved tremendously. And we are very grateful to Rotary International as a Rotary Foundation as well. Now, very quickly, we'll go to the next section of the conference, which is the major donor recognition. At this point, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize our Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, past District Governor Jason. I've asked him to say a few words, but he says that he's a bit shy and not dressed. But Jason, welcome. You've been a great support to our district, and we are very, very pleased to have you here with us. Thank you, Jason. Now, very quickly, we will go to the Rotary Foundation contribution recognition for District 3310. Let me just get my slide in order. And here we go. Okay. Now, the Rotary Foundation, have you heard from Dr. Bharat already? All right, it's the charitable arm of Rotary International. This is our foundation as Rotarians, and it's something that we must support. You know the vision, you know the mission, doing good in the world and to make the world a better place. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's something that we really, really must support and put up that badge as a Rotarian. This is what we tell ourselves that we will do, right? So what we're going to do now is to announce the contributions and donors who have given up to this date. It is still not too late, as you heard from Dr. Bharat. Worldwide target of 400 over million is almost reached. So same thing with our district. We still have a bit of work to do, but we are still about 5 to 6 weeks away from the end of this Rotary year. It is still not too late to contribute. So if you wish to be recognized in this district conference, in this session, please post a message, tell us your contribution. I'll make an effort to announce it today. Now, Paul Harris Fellowship, we had 95 new Paul Harris Fellows in our district for District 3310 for this Rotary year. And altogether, we have about another 102 multiple Paul Harris Fellows for District 3310 for this Rotary year. So almost 200 Rotarians. Now, for this session, we're going to recognize the major donors for this year. We had 12 Rotarians who achieved major donor level 1, 4 for level 2, and 2 Rotarians from our district for level 3. For major donor level 1 recognition, it is my honor to announce and thank the following: from E-Club 3310, Rotarian Ong Tek Kim; from Rotary Club Pandan Valley, Elsie Chua; from Rotary Club Pandan Valley as well, Rotarian Tan Wai Yuan; from the Rotary Club Kuching South, Dr. Louis Ng. We have 5 from the Rotary Club Sentosa. Thank you very much, Rotary Club Sentosa, under the leadership of CP Michael, as well as Karen. Michael Kwek, Karen Kang, Ho Yi Mei, Dora Tong, and Linda Wong. The next list is from the Rotary Club of Singapore, which is my club. Willie Hess, past President Paliat Mohandas, and our new Rotarian Tom Wolf. For major donor level 2, we have 4 honorees: President Dinesh Sharma from Rotary Club of Singapore, past President Tapan Rao from the Rotary Club of Singapore, Vice President Suresh Kirti from Rotary Club of Singapore. My apologies for the typo error, Suresh. And new Rotarian Tom Wolf again. You can see he's been recognized twice. He first gave $10,000 to be recognized as level 1, and he gave an additional $15,000 just this week to be recognized as level 2. I'm also very pleased to announce that we have 2 Rotarians from our district who achieved major donor level 3. First, ladies and gentlemen, past District Governor Michael Yee, who also the ARRFC. Thank you very much, PDG Michael, for your generous contribution. We hope that this will serve as an inspiration for the rest of our Rotarians to contribute to Rotary Foundation this year. And the second one is from my club again, from Rotary Club Singapore, past President Dr. Yap Lip Kee, who's also the District International Service Committee Chair. Thank you very much, Dr. Yap. Fellow Rotarians, is not the end of the list. I'm also very pleased to announce that we have a new Arch Clam Society member in our district. Trustee Circle. Any guesses, fellow Rotarians? Here it is. The newest member of the AKS Society in our district 3310 is none other than our district governor. Welcome. Thank you very much, district governor. I'm pleased to announce that as of this week, Leonika and Rajamon Munyasamy are officially minted as the newest AKS Society member in our district. So thank you very much for your generosity, leading by example. Like I said, it's still not too late. We hope that everybody can make an effort to contribute as well, so that our district and Rotary Foundation will benefit in the future. So contribute now, not only invest in Rotary Foundation, but think about what you're doing. You're investing in humanity. Now, before we go to the next stage for end polio, as you all know, Rotary's objective, Rotary's goal is the global certification of polio eradication. It wasn't too long ago that a country like Singapore had big numbers of polio victims. The first polio cases were detected in 1948. And for those who are born in the 50s, those of you who are in your 60s right now, 60 years old right now, would have known neighbors, friends, classmates, colleagues who had polio. For myself, I had 2 cousins who had polio in Singapore. My next door neighbor had polio, and my classmate in secondary school also had polio. So you can see that vaccine is very, very important, and COVID-19 is a stark reminder of what can happen and what can be done to save the world. Advocate, educate, and fundraise. These are 3 goals of the Rotary Foundation of the Polio Plus. With much further ado, I will pass the floor to the MC so that she can invite District Governor nominee Joanne to carry on with the next part of the district conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, DRFC PP Dr. Shahul. I'm sure many of us are now inspired to give to the Rotary Foundation and change the lives of many in our communities. Before we move to this next segment, just want to spend a minute to make a special mention to PDG Salim Reza from Rotary Club of Khulna and Dhaka, who has also joined us tonight. For the second part of the Rotary Foundation recognition, joining us is another special guest all the way from the United States to address us on the eradication of polio, past Rotary International Director, Robert Hall. May I invite District Governor nominee Joanne Kam to introduce our esteemed guest speaker.
Thank you very much, Rina. We're very honored to have with us past RI Director Robert Hall, who is the Vice Chair of the End Polio Now Countdown to History Campaign Committee. So he has very gratefully joined us. He's right now in the morning. It's in Atlanta, 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Let me do a short introduction of Robert. Robert is retired from IBM and owns HRH Consulting, an executive management and professional recruiting, coaching, and training firm. He's a member of the Rotary Club of Dunwoody, Atlanta, Georgia, the USA. He has served as past RI Director on the board's executive committee, chair of the 2017 Atlanta Convention Host Committee, the Rotary Foundation Centennial Celebration Committee, and chair of the Global Networking Groups and Audit Committees. He has been a Council on Legislation representative, District Rotary Foundation coordinator, and Polio Now coordinator, and on the RI Director and RI President nominating committees. Past RI Director Robert is a major donor and Bequest Society member and was honored as an Upclump Society Circle of Honor member. He has received the Service Above Self Award, the Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service, the Rotary Foundation Distinguished Service Award, as well as both the Regional and International Service Awards for a polio-free world. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to past RI Director Robert Hall, who will address us on the topic of why we must eradicate polio. Over to you, PRD Robert.
I want to thank you very much, Joanne. I really want to thank Director and Treasurer Dr. Barat. I always like to listen in total, not just polio, but in total to what the Rotary Foundation is doing in our communities and around the world. I said to myself when I joined Rotary that I could make a difference in my local community. I could change the world. And it's all through the Rotary Foundation, our Rotary Foundation. So, Dr. Barat, I have been to India, to Mumbai, to Delhi, to Moradabad. And when I went to Moradabad in 2007, Deepak Kapoor said, "Why did you come here? This is ground zero for polio. It's very dangerous. But why didn't you go to Mumbai?" But we made some great friends, and Kalyan Banerjee, past president, came and visited us there. And we have some great memories of India. And we want to thank you for what all the Indians have done. But I want to also just congratulate AKS Raja Mahan and his wife and all the other major donors and all of the donors in District 3310. And I thank all of you for what you're doing. August of 2020, I was invited by Joanne to be a part of your DISCON thing or whatever the program was back then. But it announced Step Up to End Polio Challenge. And I committed to her that I would provide recognition, Paul Harris recognition points to the 5 top people that she wanted to recognize for losing weight or walking a lot. And golly Moses, last week she said, "Hey, it's time to do it." And she sent me forms and all this, and we're doing it. But also on the call, I just want to recognize Shavi, our End Polio Now coordinator. I know I did see Shavi on the call. And he works with your region, your zone, along with Surgeon and Lynn. And last year, I guess it was the end of this year, Aziz Mon. So all of y'all are just doing a terrific job over there. And so when Joanne asked me, what would you like to talk about for a few minutes this morning? I said, it's just like Dr. Barat said, if you're a younger person, under 50, let's say, you don't even know what polio is. And the apathy in whether it be India, whether it be Malaysia, Singapore, United States, that we don't have it anymore. What do we have to worry about? So that's why I want to talk to you just a few minutes for why we must eradicate polio. I'm going to use a few slides because I want to show you what we've done and what you should be proud of, what we've done. And then I want to talk about what we still have left to do. So let me look at the first slide. Whoever's showing these, that this is pretty significant. And these aren't fancy slides. I don't know how to do fancy slides. But look at where we are right now. Only 2 cases. In 1985, all of you know, we had 350,000 cases worldwide in 125 countries. Now we're down to Pakistan and Afghanistan. And it's really getting where we think by 23 next year, we'll have 0 cases. And 3 years later, which is what it takes, we will certify the world then as polio free. Look at the last 6 months versus the 6 months in last year. 3 cases in the last 6 months versus 72. Africa, I even forgot about that. But 5 years ago it was that they had their last case. And then in 2020, look at this. Through your funding and the Gates match and et cetera, we vaccinated 450 million children with 940 million doses of polio vaccine. That is, 440 million people, children. So other recent things that have happened, we have to do great environmental testing to know where we are with the bacteria. The vaccine-derived cases are declining. They went up to 140 last year. They're down this year. And then this new oral polio vaccine is being issued right now with no problems at all. What I also want to put out in the last 2 items, that the UK, as some of you may have seen, has just dropped their funding of Polio Plus 95%. This is probably due to, and they've dropped their funding of other things also, but this is due to COVID-19 and all the other places, as you know, where we can give money, where we need to give money, where we need to help the world. But significant, a 95% reduction is absolutely significant. Let me just tell you, many of you don't know, and I point out the first point, that Rotary giving is down 15% this year from a year ago. And that's not surprising either. But let me just say this, that when John Germ, who I work for, who is the chair of the Polio Countdown to History Committee, I can't even remember that entire name, but anyway, he's chair, that we looked at the giving last year and found a few items. Number one is less than half of the Rotary clubs, less than half of the Rotary clubs give anything. That's $1, give anything. And also about 11% of the Rotarians give anything. That's saying almost 90%, 9 out of 10, do not give a penny to Polio Plus. The annual fund is critical to support the rise in global grants. Annual fund, as Dr. Brock said, is staying about flat, the giving, but the global grants are going up, and that's great. But we need to support through our annual fund, and we need to support better than 1 out of 10 Rotarians giving to Polio Plus. And your district, I'm happy to be on here with you because we're going to talk about some things you've done. Let me see the next slide. And the next slide, there's a lot on here, but it does point out some of the significant things that have happened over the year. And you can read a lot of those things. But the 19 million people who are walking on Earth who otherwise would have been paralyzed, I mean, that's significant. And some of those people died. Some people don't know you can die from polio, but it depends where polio attacks, which muscles in your body. We talked about Pakistan, Afghanistan. It's actually been 5 years since we've been without a case, except those 2 countries. And I think the thing some people don't know is when we give the vaccine, it's not just a polio vaccine. It's other vaccines like for measles, et cetera. The next column, the top item, we should be proud that our infrastructure to polio. You can see our partners, a new partner producing the vaccines is Gavi. And you can see the Gates Foundation is matched with over $1 billion. So, you know, this is a great story. Let me just say this, the Gates Foundation is going to continue to match your contributions of cash and of DDF, district designated funds, 2-to-1 through 23. So that says we're not ending this year with them. We'll go in 2 more years, and I'm not sure what'll happen after that, but we've got 2 more years that they're going to partner with us. So why do they partner with us? And I think Dr. Barat said that. They trust us. They know we'll get the job done. They know we will not quit. As Bill Gates said one time, we cannot be so fatigued that we let children die. He knows that we will continue this and not give up. So let me see the next slide right now. The next slide, I told Joanne I wanted to say that why we have to eradicate polio worldwide. It does save lives. We've covered that. You know that, I hope. If you have a question about it not saving lives and not enabling kids to play games and hang out together and do things as normal people, you know, I think that's obvious. It does save lives. What we've done since 1985 for 35 years shows it is achievable. We're down to 2 cases right now in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Only 2 cases from 350,000 in 1985. So it is achievable. It's a great investment. You may have seen some of the numbers. We can save $50 billion over the next 10 years by eradicating polio. It is a terrific investment, not just in human life, but also financially. So why don't we do it? Why don't we continue it? Why don't we get rid of it? And like I said earlier, it does create the infrastructure to eliminate any disease, whether it be COVID, whether it be back to Ebola, whether it be something new in the future. This has lasting, sustainable value. And you as Rotarians should feel good about that. So let me just end with this, saying smallpox has been eradicated. And some of you may not remember that even. But if you've ever seen a person with smallpox, you will know you had to get rid of it. And it no longer exists. My children, who are older now, 2 of the 3 had a vaccine for smallpox. The third one did not. And why he did not is it had been eradicated worldwide. So the same thing is true for polio. So let's keep our promise to the children of the world and eradicate polio. This last mile is absolutely the hardest. But we are people of action, and District 3310 has stood up and said we are through this End Polio, Step Up 10 Polio Challenge. Now, I think Joanne is going to talk about the 5 category winners, whether you walk a lot, whether you lose weight. And we're going to give the top 5 people Paul Harris Fellow recognition points. And I just say, did this work? And so Joanne and District Governor Raja Mahan, that you're giving this year is up from last year significantly in cash. And so that tells me this Step Up to End Polio Challenge works. So I want to thank Joanne and DJ Raja Mahan for all they've done, for inviting me to be part of this. And if you have any questions after Joanne takes over, I'll be happy to answer them. But I do remember this. Let me just say this. I think this is great. And I don't know if Dr. Barat said this one or not, but Kalyan Banerjee, I've been his aide. Charlene and I have been Kalyan and Vinoda's aide about 4 times and gotten to know them pretty daggum well. And I know she's not with us anymore. But Kalyan told me one time, he said, there are those who make things happen, there are those who watch things happen, and there are those who wonder what's happened. 3310 Rotarians, you make things happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Past Art Director Robert, for doing this. And we'd like to have you with us while we do the Step Up to End Polio Recognition, which is the next segment coming up. It all started at the beginning of this Rotary year, where we know that in the current environment, it's just impossible for us to do any walks. So in the past, we had done walks, we had done rides, and this year, because of COVID, it's just impossible. So we came up with an idea with the committee, and we said, let's do something virtual. And I wanted to do something whereby we don't have to take any money out other than direct donations to Polio Plus. So next slide, please. So one of the things is that we will not have anything because logistics is just impossible to hand any things or any items to anyone in the district. It's just too much logistics during COVID. So we said we'll just do purely a virtual fundraising event. And we came up with the idea and we coined it Step Up to End Polio. And this was an 8-week challenge. So consisting of step challenge and weight loss challenge, or just pure donation or just pledge. And this whole thing started on the 3rd of August 2020, where we announced to all the clubs and we encourage clubs to participate. 29th August was the flag off event. And Pastor Robert, that was the event where you joined us together with RFC Jason, who's here with us, and Polio Now coordinator PDG Chai Wai, he was with us then as well. So, and it ends 8 weeks later on 24th October, which is World Polio Day. So, and on that day, we had done walks, dinners, as well as the End Polio Virtual Summit. And DG Mohan also did mention that he will do a one-to-one donation match for individual donors. Now, although he said at that time was until 31st October, later he extended this and he extended it to the first $30,000 and he will match 1-to-1 for all the donations that are at least 1,000 USD and above. Okay. And this is a picture of the flag off event. And on 24th October, our fundraising amount came up to 61,742.64. Next slide, please. So that was the amount raised as of 24th October when we had the event on World Polio Day. And as of the end of yesterday, let's take a look what we have achieved as a whole district. It has almost doubled, and it's now 116,297.52. Well done, all Rotarians of District 3310. Thank you very, very much for all the participation and all the support. And in total, we have participation of 51 Rotary clubs, 7 Rotary clubs, 3 countries, 600 Rotarians, Rotaractors, family members, and friends. And next, we are going to recognize the top 10 clubs in terms of Polio Plus fundraising. Number 10 in Polio Plus fundraising in our district is Rotary Club of Raffles City. In 9th position, we have Rotary Club of Queenstown. 8th position, we have Rotary Club of Bandar Sri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam. 7th position, my home club, Rotary Club of Suntec City, Singapore. 6th position, Rotary Club of Tanglin, Singapore. Now, we don't have a 5th position, but we have a tie. We have a tie for 4th position. And we have Rotary Club of Kinabalu Sutra, Sabah, Malaysia, and Rotary Club Bugis Junction, Singapore. 3rd position, we have Rotary Club of Garden City, Singapore. 2nd position is Rotary Club of Singapore. And number 1, we have Rotary Club of Pandan Valley, Singapore, which is the home club of our DG Mohan. Thank you very much for the support and the fundraising efforts that have been done by these top 10 clubs. Let's take a look at it overall. The next slide. So these are the amounts raised by each of the top 10 clubs. And one thing that I'd like to also announce that the Singapore region, we have almost all 23 clubs who have donated to Polio Plus. And the final club has also promised and they have pledged that they will also give. That makes Singapore region 100% fundraising, basically 100% donation towards Polio Plus. Thank you very much, Singapore region, for the strong support. And we also have very strong support for the rest of the regions. And the total number of non-participating clubs is actually very low. It's less than, I believe it's now based on 19. And once the other Singapore club gives, and it will be 18 clubs left that is non-participating. The rest of the clubs have participated, very supportive towards this fundraising campaign. Thank you very much. And now, I would like to give 3 special awards for the next 3 clubs. Let's take a look. Number 3 in position, and that's in Family of Rotary participation recognition. So there are some clubs that have participated very actively, and not only amongst Rotarians, you have the partners as well as Rotaractors. So number 3 in Family of Rotary participation is the Rotary Club of Singapore and the Family of Rotary. In number 2 position is Rotary Club of Garden City and Rotaract Club of SMU. Number 1 position is Rotary Club of Singapore North, with the two Rotary clubs, Rotary Club of ITE College Central and Rotary Club of ITE College West. Thank you very much for all the strong participation, including your family of Rotary. And now is the excitement moment, and that goes into the winners of the Steps Challenge as well as the Weight Loss Challenge. Now, there are 5 categories, just to recap. We have the Steps Challenge, 250,000 steps. We have also the 500,000 steps category. And in weight loss, we have the 3 kg, 6 kg, and 8 kg categories. And the top winner of each of these 5 categories receive not only a certificate, they receive 1,000 PHF recognition points from past RI Director Robert Hall. So let's take a look at the Steps Challenge. Number 3 position in 250,000 steps is AG Richard Ong from Rotary E Club of Singapore. Number 2 position, PP Lee Ching Guan. Well, we've only known him as CG Lee. Number 2 in 250K steps. And number 1 position is past President Frankie Ong from the Rotary Club of Kuching Central. Let's take a look at the next slide where we have all the 3 photos. So Frankie Ong ended, instead of 500,000 steps, he ended with 2.6+ million steps. And PPCG Lee with 1.253 million steps and AG Richard Ong with 1.228 million steps. Well done. And let's invite PP Frankie Ong to give a short message.
2 million. Wow.
Frankie, are you there? You need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Good evening to all. Please forgive me that I have to go straight to my sharing. Of course, I'm very proud to achieve 2.6 million steps in 8 weeks. But this achievement was only made possible with the support from my family and from my beloved club, Rotary Club of Kuching Central. During that period, my lovely wife Pauline was locked down in Melbourne. Pauline and my children video call every day to send me support, encouragement, and love. But at times, I also make them worry. They worry that I start stepping early in the morning, 5 a.m. They worry that I was still stepping at night alone, 10 p.m. Worry that I walk in rains or under hot sun. Now, with the support of my Rotarians, I must thank those Rotarians who supported by contributing to Polio Fund. My fellow Rotarians and family members walk with me every Sunday morning, and indeed, we still do. And there were 3 Rotarians who went extra miles to support me. IPP Leonard Sia, he set personal goal and taught me the tactic to hit more steps. President Cheng Yi at times walked with me twice a day and few hours in the park. My brother, charter member PP Casey Wong, who brought me 3 meals every day so that I could spend more time in stepping. Beside all the above, there was one telling factor that kept me walking days and nights. I'm serious, I'm not joking. I miss my wife so much that every step I make, I felt I'm nearer to her. Lastly, though Step Up Challenge was over, effort to end polio continued. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Past President Frankie. Well done. So instead of 500,000 steps, you've done 2.6 million steps. Thank you very much. Now, next, we go on to the 500,000 steps challenge. Third position, Past President Tay Wei Lian from the Rotary Club of Singapore West. Second position, President Heinrich Graf from Rotary Club Marina City. And top position, immediate past President Leonard Seah. And now let's take a look at the three of them. Leonard achieved 1.856 million steps. President Heinrich achieved 1.332 million steps, and PPT Wei Lian with 1.320 million steps. Thank you very much, and let's hear from Adwi Leonard.
Thank you, DGN Joanne, for the opportunity to speak. And it is indeed a wonderful step up and weight loss challenge brought to us by you and your team. And we at RCKC were able to rise up to the challenge with participation not only by members, but also spouses, children, and friends of Rotary. Much followed way by, we challenge one another and encourage one another as well throughout the whole period. Eventually, we were to have two winners here, as well as a winner in one, as well as a runner-up in one of the weight loss categories. Part of the highlight was when our PP Frankie hit 2 million, and he was challenged to go for 2.5 million with less than 10 days left. He rose with pledges to contribute. He rose up to the challenge, and as you all saw just now, he did 2.616 million steps. And it actually, he was the only one who exceeded 2 million steps, well ahead of the next highest step, which is myself, at almost 700,000. Also notable was our President Cheng Yi, who was able to clock up over 100,000 steps in just a single day. He had done it on his second attempt, having failed in his first attempt when he clocked only 70,000 over steps. Not only have we been able to have much fellowship together, as mentioned by PP Frankie Ong, it is also pleasing to note that our CKC with this challenge has managed to exceed the target, the club's target of Polio Plus contribution by 450%. I would like to thank DGN Joanne and her team for organizing this wonderful program, and we look forward to the next challenge. Thank you, DGN Joanne.
Thank you, ABB Leonard, and thank you very much for being the instruments to help in the fundraising, because that builds up the momentum, that builds up the excitement, and through your steps and all that, it actually motivated a lot more to give to Polio Plus. And this whole program not only promotes fundraising, it is also very good for new member attraction, family or Rotary bonding, engagement amongst current members. And in fact, Rotary Club of Singapore has also used it to bring in a lot of new members as well, right? So we will look forward to more of this. Now let's move on to the next category, and that is in weight loss. Now this category is more difficult. Now we have the 3 kg weight loss challenge. Number 3 in position, Rotarian Lim Shan Yi from Rotary Club of Tawau. Number 2, Rotarian Chin Mei Lin, Rotary Club of Tawau as well. And number 1, Rotarian Liu Mei Yi from Rotary Club of Tawau. So all the 3 top positions for 3 kg weight loss goes to Rotary Club of Tawau. Mei Yi lost 7.2 kg. Maylin 5.3 kg, and Shani 4.6 kg. And Tawau also was one of the clubs that actually fundraised a lot as well. Now, let us invite Mei Yi to say a few words.
Good evening, DG Mohan, DG and Joanne, and my fellow Rotarians. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Rotary District for organizing this program, the setup to end polio weight loss challenge. As all Malaysians know, we are having special experience of MCO in March 2020. And as seen from online social media, that most of us are starting our backering and also cooking journey, which including me, and let me gain a lot of weight. And after the end of the MCO, I could hardly fit in my clothes, and I know that I have to get a diet plan that times. And when I have this thought, and there's come this opportunity. And this program gave me a great opportunity to start and commit my diet plan consistently, as there is a need to update the organizer of the progress of the loss of weight weekly. Yeah. And to my surprise, that it worked on me, and I started to lose weight consistently. And it's also out of my expectation that I won this award. So yeah, I'm greatly happy to be benefited by this program personally. And at last, I would like to say that it is my honor to participate in this program by being able to donate and help out the End Polio program. And I wish the aim of this program that End Polio for Good can be achieved in soonest future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mei. Thank you very much. Next, let's move on to the 6 kg category. Now, you notice that we go straight to number 2 because there was no number 3 that managed to cross 6 kg. Only 2 contestants who signed up for the 6 kg weight loss crossed the 6 kg mark. And number 2 position is Rotarian Suwati Agus Yani from Rotary Club of Kinabalu Sutra, Sabah, Malaysia. And top position for 6 kg weight loss challenge is President Nelson Ng from Rotary Club of Raffles City, Singapore. And let's take a look how much they have lost in total. President Nelson Ng has lost 6.9 kg and Rotarian Suwati Agus Yani 6.2 kg. And let's invite President Nelson to say a few words.
A very good evening to all fellow Rotarians. It was a very innovative strategy and meaningful to launch End Polio fundraising campaign together with Step Up Challenge in this pandemic situation for all Rotarians to stay healthy and stay safe. Congratulations to DGN Joanne and her team for a very successful End Polio fundraising and Step Up Challenge. Tonight, I'm very honored to represent Rotary Club of Raffles City to receive 2 recognition, being one of the top 10 End Polio Fund donors, thanks to all the supports from my members. And surprisingly, number 1 in the 6 kg weight loss category. Weight losing to me used to be a mission impossible. Many thanks to DGN Joanne for her secret formula to help me to make my mission accomplished with a weight loss of 6.9 kg in last October. And I continue till now. I have achieved 12 kg. Amazing. Just to share with you how I started with a small step, improved to a big step, end up with a fast step to achieve this milestone. Rotary really opens opportunity to give me a chance to participate in this weight loss program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Cheers.
President Nelson, for your support. Also, wow, cheers. Yes, and the final category, 8 kg weight loss challenge. This is even more difficult. And in number 2 position is President Wong Chen Yi from Rotary Club of Kuching Central, Sarawak, Malaysia. And top position is past President Muhammad Sifon from the Rotary Club of Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia. And can we have Muhammad Sifon say a few words?
Thank you, DJ and Joanne. Good evening, DJ Mohan and all participants of the district conference. On behalf of Rotary Club of Kuching, I would like to, first of all, congratulate DJ and Joanne for a very successful program, very innovative, a very noble, and indeed a very unique situation and achieved well during the pandemic. Rotary Club of Kuching was also participated by the oldest in the club, which are past President Chan Woon Peng at 91 years old then, 992. And with all the support, especially from past President Joanne Ting, we were really supported well in this challenge, allowing us to all achieve the necessary weight loss in all our programs. Again, DJ and Joanne, you and your team have done very well during the pandemic and galvanizing us all to achieve the objective of the end polio. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And let's now the final, and that is the committee. I'd like to give a very big thank you to my committee members. Without them, this has been impossible. Plus also the support of all our Rotary clubs, all our club presidents, all our Rotarians. And in addition, definitely DG Mohan. And I would like to also thank those who have given more than $1,000 US, which DG Mohan has matched up to $30,000. And so we have PDG Michael Yee, $8,000. And we have IPDG Jeff Yong, $2,000. IPB Jimmy Chung, $1,700. We have PB Betty, Datin Betty, who's 1935. Linda Gao from Queenstown, 1507. Eric Schneider, 1570. And we have a lot more that have given. And also PP Kushu Jasto, who has helped to rope in 3875. Now, the rest of them include Irene Wamakau from Suntec City, Bhaskar Rao, Suntec City, Louisa Lee Wei Ling, Singapore, Mansoor Hassan Bai, Singapore, PP Shahul Hamid, Singapore, Chong Zhi Cheng from Rotary Club Singapore, Peter Anthony Brock, Singapore, Cho Peng Sam from Pandan Valley, Tan Peng An from Mount Sophia, Louis Ng from Kuching South, Dr. John Chan from Kuching, Grace Chiu from Kinabalu Sutra, Freddie Lee from Johor Bahru, Matthew Yong from Garden City, Lee Wai Yi from Bugis Junction, PDG Chiu Gim Bok from Bugis Junction, Rito Kalagari, Bugis Junction, and Ricky Ng from BSB. So thank you very much. And of course, a big thank you to our DG Mohan, who have matched these up to $30,000. So for those who have contributed, and also my AG Jonah Pang, she has also contributed more than 1,000. So collectively, not counting DG Mohan's, all those who contributed 1,000 and above collectively is 41,455.08. So out of this, 30,000 has been matched by DG Mohan. Thank you very much, DG Mohan, for this. And in total, we have derived a total of 116K to date. And thank you to all who have actively participated. Thank you to all those who have done your steps, your weight loss, as instruments for the whole fundraising. And thank you to all the club presidents and also the Rotary clubs who have participated. So we have quite a few Rotary clubs that have participated as well. Thank you very much. You'll be receiving your certificates of recognition, achievement, participation. Now, as long as you finish, so you must finish to receive the cert. You must submit You must have submitted all the things that we required. Otherwise, you do not complete. So there are people who have not completed, gave up halfway, you will not receive a cert. But for those who have completed it, we will be sending you the certs. And hope this was a good way to raise funds. And without further ado, I'd like to end this session and hand over to the Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, DG and Joanne. It is now time to call upon District Governor Mohan to adjourn this district conference.
Thank you for staying with us for the last 2 hours or so. Really appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed today's session. So I hereby declare day 2 of the 30th District Conference adjourned. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, District Governor Mohan. I hope everyone can stay a few minutes longer as we're going to proceed to the House of Friendship very soon. But before that, word on the street is that today is District Governor-elect Dolly Yip's birthday. So we're going to play a quick birthday song. So let's all unmute ourselves now and let's sing together.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Hey, DG Dolly.
21 years. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dolly.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
To spotlight the birthday girl.
Here's the music. Cue the music.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. The music.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Dolly.
Happy birthday
To you. How young are you?
21 years.
21. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
200 guests, your birthday
Kongsi nih.
Very much. Thank you.
Salah tu Pak.
Salah number.
Channel.
Channel.
BRI.
Ask Mohan to dance Bhangra for a song.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for meeting yourself.
Thank you, Rina. Well done.
Thank you, Rina.
Congratulations, Mohan, and all the major honors.
Everyone, if you can stay on. Thank you, everyone. If you can all stay on for a few minutes, we do have one more segment, which is the House of Friendship. So what we're going to do is we're going to be playing the classic hit, and I'm sure every one of you know this. It's going to be Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. So, you know, we played the YMCA yesterday and that was good fun. So we're going to be doing this tonight as well. So the dance moves are actually very simple and can be done seated down, or if you want to stand up and dance as well, feel free to do so. Just make sure, just be aware that you're actually being recorded. So you don't want to do anything too crazy. So now I'd just like to invite everyone to try the moves with me. So they're very simple. We're just going to follow the lyrics during the chorus. So if everyone can just follow me now, we're going to use our hands. The lyrics go, never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. So if everyone can try it with me. Okay. I can see that, you know, let's try it together. So never going to give you up. So using our hands, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye. So this is the Miss Universe wave. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. So I'm gonna do it one more time. I wanna see everyone doing it with me as well. So you're just gonna use your hands. So let's give it a try, everyone. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. That's it, guys. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. That's it. All right, now we're gonna play the song. Have fun with it. Feel free to freestyle as well. We're all gonna enjoy the song.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. I feel commitments while I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We know each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give. We've known each other
for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you just say we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're play. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Let you up, let you down. Run around and desert you.
Really nice job, guys. Thank you so much for being great squad. Hope you guys enjoyed the last segment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you very much, Rina, for being a good host.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Great workout before sleep.
We got to say
goodbye. Everyone, good night.
Greetings.
Thank
you for singing from
the
me.
Thank
Thank you for making my day.
How are you? Dolly.
Yes,
Most
thank
welcome,
you.
DJ Dolly.
Yeah, bye.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dolly.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good job, Rina.
Thank you very much, Dikshe.
Walang anuman.
Bye-bye. Thank you, DG Mo.